All righty, welcome everybody to our newest Lunch and Learn series, all about nature connections. So during this 10-week session, each week is going to focus on a different sort of area of citizen science projects or things that you can do in your backyard to connect more with nature. So we've got some really, really wonderful things we're going to be talking about. Today is going to be sort of an introduction to using some really cool technology, including the iNaturalist app. Next week, we're talking about Monarch Watch and how to create a Monarch way station in your yard. So we have just lots of really exciting projects all the way through. I think our very last one is all about how to get involved in a firefly count. So just lots of really, really fun stuff. In addition to that, obviously, we have a lot of other wonderful programs going on at Bucks Audubon. If you are interested in frogs, we actually have a program this week on frogs. Tomorrow evening, Thursday, we are doing an introduction virtually at 7 o'clock. And then on Saturday, we're doing an in-person walk through the marsh and by the pond to see what frogs are up and active so far. I know a lot of people have been telling me that they've been hearing their spring peepers already. So hopefully we'll get to see some really great things out on Saturday evening. If you're interested in those, it's a separate sign up for the virtual from the in-person. And you can do that on our website as well. Other things we have coming up include our Earth Day Festival. So on April the 10th, we are hosting our Earth Day Festival. We decided to go for it and just do it this year. We're going to have lots of stuff spread out. People are going to have to sign up for some of their activities. So it'll be a little different than normal, but we're hoping to still get a nice turnout and hopefully get lots of people outside connected to the nature and talking to the really great other organizations that we're going to have represented there. So it should be lots of fun. If you are a birder, we are also doing, in May, we're going to be doing a Bird-A-Thon fundraising event. So we're going to do a day-long opportunity for people to sign up and go out and bird around Bucks County for the day. You can choose to bird the entire Bucks County, anywhere in the county that you want, or you can choose either upper or lower Bucks. Or you can choose to even do it in your very own yard if you want to do it that way. And there are different prizes for who's going to find the most species in each category. So that should be lots of fun as well. So lots of great stuff coming up. And just a general reminder, if you haven't been out to our property recently, it's a great time to come out. Come out, enjoy the trails, bird watch, look in the ponds and streams for lots of fun macroinvertebrates and frogs, and just a great time to sort of connect with nature. So definitely get outside and enjoy that. I am now LeRoy Tabb, who's going to be doing our presentation today. LeRoy is a member of our Citizen Science Committee and way more technically knowledgeable than I am. So I'm excited to have him do our presentation today. iNaturalist is something that we've been working with for a year or so, maybe 2 years now, at Bucks Audubon, and we've been having a lot of fun with it. So hopefully you will have a lot of fun with it as well. I am going to mute everybody, and if you have questions as we go, put them in the chat, and then LeRoy can answer them at the end. So I think that's everything. So LeRoy, if you want to take it away.
Okay, can everybody hear me? I assume so.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So today I'm going to talk about the merging of technology and nature. You usually don't think of these things. They seem to be kind of opposite, but today we're going to talk about how they kind of fit together. So I'm going to, hopefully I'm going to share my screen here and get things started. Except I just don't see the screen share thing. Yeah. Okay, hold on.
Bottom of the page, green button.
Bottom of the page, screen button. Yeah. I lost my, sorry. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on, here we go. Yeah, after, oh, here we are. Screen share, there it is. I was on the wrong screen. Okay. All right, can you see it?
Yep.
Okay, great. Okay, nature and technology. So I think this image kind of shows how we can bridge that gap of nature and technology. So what I'm going to, okay. So basically, I'm going to go into a couple of apps that we can use on our phone that will help us when we're in the field, okay? Help you identify what you see in nature. So basically, everybody enjoys walking through the woods, a nice day, and Buck's Audubon is a good place to do it. So you should come out and do it there. But while you're out there, you see all kinds of stuff. You know, here's a sample of some of the stuff you might see. By the way, the last two pictures, I need to credit Marissa for taking. Most of the pictures here were taken either for iNaturalist or and at Buck's Audubon or at my house, almost all of them, not quite all of them. The red-tailed hawk was not put into iNaturalist, that was taken. But anyway, so we see all these things when we're out in nature. Everything from trees and shrubs, spiders and snakes, salamanders, slugs, birds, and bugs. So, but a lot of the time we're not sure what we see. And we go, you know, what is that? Is this poison ivy? What are these leaves? Does this insect sting? That one doesn't, but that one does. So it would be nice if you could pull a naturalist out of your pocket, but obviously that's not something that we can do. But what if you could pull out a whole community of naturalists, community scientists waiting there to help you? And with the application iNaturalist, you can do that. It gives you the opportunity to do that kind of thing. So if you have a smartphone, either an Android or an iPhone, you can have iNaturalist with you everywhere you go. And it's a huge collection of experts are just a few clicks away. And I'm going to be showing the iPhone, and I'm not going to be going into detail as to, you know, how to install it and that kind of thing. I want to get into using it and the larger picture. So if you have any specific questions, you can ask. But so we'll be going that. And the important thing is it's absolutely free. No in-app purchases. None of the apps I'm going to talk about have any in-app purchases. They're all free. Okay. Here's a poster that Marissa put together about how to get started with iNaturalist. But all you have to do is download it from the iNaturalist app, and I'll give you a link later on. For the iPhone, you can just go to the App Store. For the Android, you go to Google Play. You have to create an account and then start observing. One thing that I do, by default, you'll see in the settings, if you go to the settings screen on your application, it has this automatic upload is on by default. That means that when you save your sightings, it automatically tries to upload it. I personally don't like that. I'm just pointing out, I'm not suggesting that you should necessarily turn it off. I do. It gives me a little bit more control. If you're out somewhere where you don't have internet access and it's trying to upload it, it's just wasting a lot of time. The other thing is, by not doing an automatic upload, you can just put in a quick identification, put in a quick thing and not even identify it. And then later when you get home, you can identify it and then upload it. And all of the information about the time you saw it, where you saw it, and obviously what you saw will be incorporated into the observation at that time. So what is iNaturalist? This is pretty much taken from their website. It's a place to record and organize findings. It also, though, it helps you identify things you see in the field, as I said. And at Honey Hollow, we have a project set up so that any sightings you make while you're on the property, anywhere on the property, if you upload them to iNaturalist, they will automatically be saved to our database, so we can collect all of the information of anyone who sees anything at Honey Hollow, and which helps us understand what's going on there. And in a larger sense, this whole iNaturalist community science project helps people around the world identify species and monitor how the species that are there. So it's a big global thing, and it's very helpful to the community and for yourself. For me, I like doing it myself. So iNaturalist, in iNaturalist, is a place where you make an observation. So what is an observation? An observation is includes something that you see when you're out in the field. It could be a leaf, it could be an animal, it could be evidence of an animal, it could be an antler, it could be tracks, it could be poop, scat, droppings, it could be a part of a dead animal. Generally, we like to have whole, fresh animals, but it could be anything, any evidence that you see. And the observation includes your information, who you are, and when you save your observation, it automatically includes the metadata of where you saw it and what time you saw it. What you saw is, we'll get into that a little bit more, and the evidence of what you saw, which is usually a photograph, but it can be a sound recording, or you can even just write in a verbal description of what you saw. If you do that, it doesn't become what's called a research grade. It will be a casual observation, and we'll get into that a little later too. Okay. So the exciting part is, once you've created your observation, you can ask iNaturalist to suggest what it thinks you may have seen. So to do it, you tap observe on your iPhone. You then have to touch camera. And I just want to make a point here too, that this is something that has changed, like with new additions, with new updates of the application. There's little nuances and button changes. So that's another reason that I'm not going to get into great detail. So this is something new here. But anyway, so you touch on your camera, you take your photos, and one or more, and you click the button, what did you see? Like I said, the where and when are added automatically. You save your observation. And if you don't have the automatic upload setting, as I don't, you have to upload, or in the Android, use the sync. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to switch back. I'm going to stop sharing. And hopefully you guys can see me. Is that correct? You can see me. Yep. Okay, good. All right. So what I'm going to do is I have to improvise a little bit. I had a few problems this morning, so things didn't go quite the way I wanted to. But I'm going to actually open iNaturalist on my phone, if I remember how to use my iPhone. Okay, so we open iNaturalist, and here is the button. I don't know how the contrast is. Can you guys see that? No. Okay, there's a button there. That's to make an observation. Observe. There it is. And here I have to hit the camera button. So now I go into the camera mode, and you see the camera. I just want to mention that you can make an observation based on pictures that you already have taken. But I'm not going to go, it's not complicated. It's pretty straightforward. But right now we're going to talk about making live observations. So I have a specimen here that I'm going to assume that's something I came upon in the field. Okay. My specimen is running away as it would in the wild. Here, I'm just going to hold it in my hand. Okay, so we came upon this in the field. We don't know what it is. And what I suggest you do, one of the important things about getting a good photograph in any case, in any situation, is to be close to your subject. But when you're in the field, you may not be sure to be able to get a good close picture. So the first thing I do is, as soon as I get a picture that's close enough that I think I can identify it before it runs away like that, before I think I can identify it, is I'll take a picture, and that could be from a distance. So I'll take a picture. I'll take a picture like that, sorry. And then there's an option of retake or use photo. If the photo is anywhere half decent, I say use photo. Okay, then I'll hit this plus button here. I'm sorry, you can't see it very well. You could see this before. Wait a minute, let me try turning down my screen brightness. Is that better? Yeah, that's better, I think. All right, so this button here is a plus. You hit that plus button, and then you're going to take another picture. So we're going to get in closer to our subject. You have to take the camera button. You're getting closer to our subject again, and take another picture. Try to get it in focus. So, and take another picture. I'm sorry, I'm not doing a good job here. So the bottom line is that we want to get pictures as close as can be, and with as much detail, relevant detail relevant to the actual specimen that you're talking about. In this case, this undefined beetle at this point. In your observations, it's also good to have a size reference. Now, since I'm holding this in my hand, it's got a built-in size reference, but after you get a good picture, it's good. You can put in a finger, or maybe if it's on the ground, you can put in your foot or a coin, but it's always good to have a good size reference. The other thing to keep in mind is things that you see in your specimen that may be diagnostic, things that you think may be important. And so you want to make sure you take all of those. So after you take your pictures, and we say use photo, then we go here and you see this, maybe you can't read it very well, but it says, what did you see? So you click that button, you click that question mark, and it's iNaturalist goes through and it gives you its top suggestions for what it thinks it is. And here, the very top suggestion is a grapevine beetle. First at the top, though, it tells you not to do that because then it goes away. Hold on, we'll just do that again. What did you see? Okay. Okay, now at the top, it says, we're pretty sure this is in the genus, let me read it, Pelindonta. So it gives you a genus, overall, a larger suggestion. Then it tells you the specific species it thinks it is. Now, if you look at these images, which I guess you can't see very well, I apologize. I was supposed to have a second camera to do this, but things didn't go well. So that's why I'm kind of winging it here. So you can, at this point, you look through and see which, if any of these look like they're what your specimen is. Now, if you look at this, and if you could see it well, you'd see that their suggested specimen looks pretty close. And in fact, that is what we have. It's a grapevine beetle. So, but sometimes you may have 2 or 3 animals, or specimens, I should say, that are very, very close and they're difficult to tell apart. In that case, if I'm not sure, I will choose the genus, or even back up and choose a larger designation for the taxonomy, and let the community take care of what it actually is. And let me describe what I'm talking about. So like I said before, iNaturalist is a crowdsourcing or community science project, which means that crowdsourcing takes a lot of people with a little expertise and gathers all of that together to become like a super expert. So the idea is that if you have a lot of people who know much of different areas, together they can be like one expert on pretty much everything. And if it works well, that's what happens. So when we upload our observations to iNaturalist, they go out into the community, and other people, other naturalists, other citizen science, casual observers, or whoever will see that observation, and they'll be able to take a look at it. And somebody might say, oh, I know what that is, and they got it right, or no, it's not quite right, or it's completely wrong. So when you put your observation there, it will get refined. One thing I forgot to mention when I was showing this, I apologize, when I was showing this screen here, an important thing is when it shows you these suggestions, one of the things I look for, and I don't know if you can see it, it says visually similar and seen nearby. That's important. They're always going to be visually similar if it found a kind of a match, but seen nearby is important, because sometimes you'll see something that's very close to what you're looking at, but it's from Brazil and it never comes north of Mexico, so you know it's not what you've seen here. So you have to be careful. And when you do your if you click on this information button here, you'll see the specimen, and you'll see a range map here. And the range map shows you where the creature or specimen may occur. And that's important to pay attention to before you put in your observations. And I've done it. I put in an observation for something because iNaturalist came up and said, oh, that's what it is. And it's something that's only in England. So, and somebody yelled at me, but whatever. So that's the way that works. Let me go back to my screen share. Okay, just a minute here. Share. Okay, you guys can see my screen now? Just nod. Yes? Okay, good. All right, so we made our observation. So just to go over what we just did, get close to your subject, make sure the subject is in focus and the exposure is good. Sometimes it helps to use a flash. Don't be afraid to take a lot of pictures of your subject, because you don't have to put them all into your observation. So I can take a dozen pictures of one subject, and then I might post 2 or 3. So as I said, take a photo as your approach. Be sure before your subject flies or runs away, and then move in for the great close-up. Consider including the size reference, finger, foot. Make sure to capture important details, front, back, sides, top, bottom, if that's important, if it looks like it may be important. And if it's a leaf, a lot of times the underside of a leaf is an important thing to include, or spiders, it's important to include eyes of spiders and that kind of thing. Some creatures have, well, I should talk about distinctive patterns that are sometimes difficult to discern. So when you identify your observation, you select the most representative photo as the default. I'll show you that a little later. But when I didn't tell you, when you take the picture, your pictures, each photo you take will be seen at the top of the screen. The first photo you take will have a little check mark next to it. Now, if you took it from a distance as you're coming in close, then you really don't, that's not going to be the photo you really want to use. So you're going to want to pick one that's most representative, and you can just touch it and it will become the default. That's important because when iNaturalist does its search, it uses that default image as the key for its search. Sometimes if iNaturalist doesn't come up with a good description, I'll use a different image as the default. And sometimes that helps, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes you'll change the image, the default image, and it'll come up with an entirely different thing. So iNaturalist, again, it's a community science project, and it's working on a huge, huge database worldwide of observations that have been put in by everybody. So if you're in an area where there are a lot of observations, and we're in one here, you're a lot more likely to get a good, accurate description, good, accurate identification. Not always 100%. And some of that can be by the quality of the photo you took, and some of it can be by just the similarities between different species. Okay. If you take a photo, and it's like I said, if you're coming in close and you get your first photo, I always say use photo, don't retake. But a lot of times when you're taking more photos, blurry, it didn't come out right, you hit retake and you'll get a better picture. So as I said, if you're not sure, it's better to choose a less specific taxonomy, but entering even a very generic taxonomy, order, class, or even phylum is better than leaving it as unknown. And just so, because what we're talking about is taxonomy, I just thought I'd throw this in to show you what we're talking about. So if you're specific, you're down here to the actual species. In this case, it was forget what it was, a beetle. Well, a beetle would be up here. But anyway, so that's specific. The genus is a more generic designation. So even if you put in family, like if you come up to a class, even, I know it's a mammal, I know it's a butterfly, then that would take it down to this level. Anyway, whatever you can put in will help, because the citizen science, the community scientists who are helping with the observations are more likely to take a look at it and work on it. If you just put in unknown, there's so many observations out there, a lot of times it won't go very far. And in case you're interested in this hierarchy of kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, and species, you can remember the mnemonic, King Philip came over for good soup. So when you post your observation, as I said, you remove your redundant and unneeded photos. You select the most representative photo as your default, then save your observation. And if you don't have that auto upload or sync enabled, you have to upload or sync your observation. So after you put in your observation, then what? You uploaded it. Well, the idea is then you can come back and check for updates on your observation. It can be done on a mobile device, but you can log in and do it on your computer, which is where I prefer to do it. So I'm going to do a different screen share here, hopefully. Screen share. Okay, do you guys see that iNaturalist screen? Yes? Okay, good. Okay, so you go into iNaturalist. Now you have to create an account and log in, but if you've done that on your phone, then it's just a matter of replicating that. And I don't want to go into the details of that, but so you come in, and when you first come in, you'll see all updates. And these would be updates to your observations. And this also is updates that you make to other people's observations. And I'll talk about that a little bit here later. You can click on your content, and that'll show you updates that are specific to your observations. Or you can click on observations, and that'll show you all of your observations, where you can go back and look and see what's been happening. Now, if you look here, I had done the Grapevine Beetle before when I first found it, dead in the garage. But anyway, it was a neat specimen. And here now you can see pretty, give you a better look at the pictures that I first took. Okay, so since this was dead, I didn't have to worry about sneaking up on it. But that's a picture I took without a flash. That's a blurry one. That's a picture of the underside to show, other aspects of the creature. That's sometimes an important thing. Here, I took one that's natural light, and then I took it again with a flash. Sometimes you'll get more detail or better detail with a flash. And that's also another flash picture. So those are the images of that particular beetle. And I posted it, and not long after, this person shown it, suggested an ID, and they agreed with me, and they said it was a grapevine beetle. Once they did that, it confirmed this observation at the species level. And we talked about what that is, which is why it has this research grade flag. Once you have 2 or more people agree with the observation at the species level, it becomes research grade. And that's important for iNaturalist, because then they have more confidence in using the information from your observation to include in their database and to further their improve the database. Now, I want to show you another observation and why I say it's. Here was an observation I made of this spider. And when I looked it up, I thought it might be a white. I thought it might be the white-banded fishing spider, but I wasn't sure. And so I put it in. Let's go back here again. I put it in as fishing spiders generic, okay, because I wasn't sure. Then somebody came back and they said, no, that's a white-banded fishing spider. And since I thought that's what it was to begin with, I then went and I agreed with that description, and that made it become research grade. I don't automatically necessarily do that. You shouldn't automatically just agree with the previous description unless you have some reasonable, unless you're pretty sure that that's what it is. I would, if I wasn't sure and I thought it might have been that, I would have left this and waited for another person to come in and put in white-banded fishing spider. So I err on the side of being careful and with the descriptions of things that I see. You can also go in and go to other people's observations and try to improve them. And you can just browse through different things. There are filters in here, like if I go to explore, I can go to explore and I could go to filters and I could pick birds. And I also, when I do it, I would also pick a location. I don't see it right now. Description ones. Oh, location right here. Bucks County. Okay, so we're looking at birds that were put into to be identified in Bucks County. And you see some of the pictures, like here's a picture of a feather. And we talked about different things you can use. This is a feather, and I could tell right away that it's a northern flicker, and it's already been put in as a northern flicker. See, the original identification just said birds. Other people said northern flicker, which is what it's a yellow shafted flicker because of the yellow. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to say agree. So it puts another nail in the identification for northern flicker. So you can go in here and you can go through the observations. You could just look at them, or you can try to add to the conversation and improve on the observations that are already there. Sometimes the observations are not so great. Somebody put in house sparrow. It's hard to see. It is a house sparrow. I can see it. So I'm going to confirm that observation since we're here. But sometimes it's pretty tough to tell. Another thing, see this red exclamation mark here, that tells you that it's an invasive species. So that's an important thing to look at, or it's an interesting thing to look at when you're doing your observations. House sparrows are an invasive species. They displace our birds. They can kill bluebirds and so forth. So, so that's that. Let me go back to sharing my PowerPoint. Sorry about the clumsiness here and moving back and forth to my different different things. Okay, here we go. Oh, that's not it. Well, you know what? No, I'm going to go back to my PowerPoint. I'm not seeing this. I'm not seeing the green screen share. All right, let me just open up PowerPoint.
The screen share, when you hover across the bottom, it should come up, and this is in the same line as like mute and start video and.
Yeah, it's not.
Oh, you're already sharing your screen.
Oh, I am. Good. Okay, good.
And you can see we're seeing iNaturalist. So.
Oh, well, I want to show.
If you go to your PowerPoint, you should be able to do that, I think.
Can you see it? All right, hold on.
Right, those people, right?
Show. Can you see my slideshow now?
I wanted to show you by answering your question.
Say again.
Oh.
LeRoy, stop sharing and then reshare with your PowerPoint.
Reshare. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So now you're seeing me.
Yes.
Okay.
I think I may have muted someone.
I have too many screens here. All right. Are you seeing?
Yes.
You're seeing my screen from current. Okay. So you see a slide that says screen share iNaturalist, correct?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right. So we're done screen sharing iNaturalist. So to review, you click on your observation, look for updates, look for the research grade banner, which we talked about. And you can look for comments on your observations, refinements of your observations, and validations. And like I said, be careful when agreeing with refinements to your observations. Don't just knee-jerk say, oh, yeah, that's what it is. All right, so the other thing I wanted to talk about is another application, which is by iNaturalist. It's called Seek. And Seek is a little different in that it's, well, it's the best choice if you don't want to create an account or share data or if you're just getting started. You don't have to log in. You don't have to create an account. It's safer for kids. You don't even need internet access, so you can be out in any place and still use it. It provides an identification in real time when screened, which I will attempt to show you. And the identification is just yours. It's just you, and it's on your phone. It doesn't go out anywhere. It doesn't go out into the community or anything unless you decide that you want to do that. But, you know, like if you just see a bug and you say, oh, I think it's a June bug, but I don't want to put that in iNaturalist, and you just look at it and you can confirm that. If you have an iNaturalist account, though, you can take an observation that you make in Seek and then put it into iNaturalist. And like I said, it's good for quick ID without interacting with the entire iNaturalist community. It's easy to use, no login. You just tap on the camera icon, scan the subject, and you look for 7 green dots on the top of the screen. Now, we already talked about taxonomy. The dots at the top of the screen kind of light up. They turn green in the order for each of these refinements of the taxonomy. So the furthest one to the left means it knows what kingdom it is, then the phylum, class. And if you get all 7 of them, it's defined the species. Sometimes it'll only go to genus. So once it's gotten as far as it can, and certainly if it's a species, then you can take a photo. You can take a photo anyway, but you know that will help you identify it. The thing about Seek, though, is that it gives you an immediate identification, but if it doesn't have the final identification, it doesn't give you, if you don't put it out into iNaturalist, you don't leverage the whole community science crowdsourcing community to help identify your specimen. So, but it is pretty neat. So I'm going to stop sharing again, and hopefully I can do a better job of this time. Let's see how it works. Okay. So here's my phone again. And that was iNaturalist, and I'll close that. And we're going to go and open, oh, I don't see it there. Let me open Seek. Sorry, bear with me a second here. There it is. Okay, this is Seek. Now it's, I wanted to back up here. Hold on. Okay, this is Seek. The way when it opens up, and all you have to do is touch this camera icon, and you can see that it's showing the camera again. Now I'm going to use our same friend here, and as I come in to the creatures, see the dots on top? I don't know if you can see them. See how they lit up? Can you? Okay, I'm going to do it with something that's easier to hold. I'm going to do it with this. Okay, so here we go again. You see the green dots on the top, and it I'm trying to make it so you can see it. I can see it. Oh, geez. Can you see that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. See the dots.
Did they all come up green? I can't see my screen now. I can't see it myself right now. So anyway, those dots at the top, I should across the top there, will tell you what it is, and then you'll get an immediate description of your thing. I'm sorry, this is just not working very well. Make my screen a little brighter. That's volume. I made the screen dark, but now I can't see it. Okay. Is that better?
Yes.
There you go. I can see it. Okay, so you see that it tells you exactly what it is that quickly. So that's one of the advantages. The thing is, though, if it didn't know what it was and I wanted to add the backside of the leaf or something, I don't really have the opportunity to add another picture. Seek just kind of gives it to you in the moment. And but it can do a really, like, you see this is like a pretty raggedy leaf, but how did it get dark all of a sudden? Oh, because okay. It's a pretty raggedy leaf, but it should, there you go. Did it get the species? I can't tell. Anyway, when in this background, it's having, there you go. It can tell, it can define it, to figure out what that is, even as poor a specimen as that is. So it has those advantages. But it doesn't always, like there's some things, here's an example of why I don't use it, or I mean, not why I don't use it, but one of its shortcomings. Here's a leaf, here's a feather. Now, almost everybody can tell what that is right away. That's a blue jay feather. And if I put it in Seek, all it's going to tell me, I have to take my word for it if it doesn't show very well, is that it's a bird. That's not really great. So iNaturalist would tell you that it's probably a blue jay feather. So that's some of the differences between the two, but they're good. So I mean, each one has its own use, and each one has its own advantage. So just want to wrap up real quick here. I'll go back to my screen if I can figure out where it was. Oh, that's the wrong one. I think I shared the wrong one. Sorry. Stop sharing. Do it again. There we go. All right. So you move the camera around to increase your dots, get all 7 dots. The idea is at the species level. You can take a photo even if the idea is not at the species level. If you have an iNaturalist account, you can send your observation to iNaturalist. And that's it. These are some links for iNaturalist and Seek. There's other applications if you're into birds, which are important and work together kind of in the same way that iNaturalist and Seek. You have Merlin and eBird. Merlin is an application that lets you identify birds, and eBird is an application that lets you put your observations into a database that's used by a large community of not citizens, not community scientists. These are researchers, and that eBird information is used around the globe to help people find birds and to log in and identify what's happening with bird populations. So that's all I have. And if anybody has any questions, that's it.
All righty. If people want to come off of mute and ask any questions, they absolutely can. I think there's...
And I apologize for I was supposed to have a separate camera for this, and due to anyway, I didn't. So I apologize for the mix up there. Let me see if there's anything in the chat. Okay, so someone said, Barbara said, I got the app and looking at the observations on Audubon and Tuckamony properties. Yeah, we have that. I didn't show you that, but we do have that project. I mentioned it. and the mnemonic got emails when someone has commented or updated. And yes, you do get emails. You can have notifications for when you get an update on your observations. You can set that. Callie just tried it out, never having used Seek before. Took a picture of the plant next to me and immediately identified it as a peach lily. Of course, it was my dog, but no. That's
a cute name for a dog.
The spell correct name seems to want to be a peach and not a piece. Oh. So anyone else have any questions? I mean, there's a lot of other applications that some are like for identifying birds especially. And the thing I like about iNaturalist though, is it's like I used to have a thing to identify leaves and I had another thing to identify trees. And of course I have, well, Merlin is for birds. The thing about birds is they're far away and it's hard with an iPhone to take a picture of a bird, get it into iNaturalist that's good enough to use. But, and I should mention this, you can take pictures with a regular camera and then import them into, create your observation using those pictures in iNaturalist. And I do that a lot. And that's the best way to get, if you want to do bird IDs and that kind of thing. So.
LeRoy,
Yes.
if you, like in Merlin, I didn't realize once you figure out what the bird is, like you see something in your backyard and then you put in all the criteria and then it says, is this your bird? And then you like scroll through all the different birds and then you say, yeah, this is my bird. So that's the end of it. It doesn't go anywhere is what you're saying, right? It doesn't like combine with any other knowledge.
Right. But you have the ability there's an option, and I can't remember it offhand because I know I've seen it, where you can say, add this to eBird, upload it to eBird. And when you do that, then it is included as part of the whole eBird community. So
But you have
can
to
do
have
that.
the app eBird.
You do need to have eBird, and you have to have an eBird account. It's kind of like the relationship between Seek and iNaturalist.
Yeah, right.
Merlin is like Seek, and eBird is like iNaturalist. So if you have an eBird account, then you can do it. If you don't have an eBird account, then it's just for you, which is fine. It helps you identify the birds you see, and then maybe later you become more comfortable and you're interested more in looking into eBird.
What if you took that? There's no way to take the picture that they show you and put it into iNaturalist. You have to physically take a picture, like from Merlin.
Oh, from Merlin to iNaturalist? Well, there's no connection between Merlin and iNaturalist, at least not now.
There's no picture that you've taken on your camera, on your phone, right? It's just their picture.
Merlin doesn't save it to your. I thought you could save your pictures from Merlin.
I don't.
Oh, if you take a picture, yeah.
Well, if you don't take a picture in Merlin and it just
no, if you don't take. Yeah, right, right. You're just putting in a description of what you saw. Yeah,
right. That's right.
Right. But Merlin will ID a photo if you have a photo.
Oh, okay.
I thought it did that.
I'm not sure how that works, but in any case, I always thought that Merlin, like when you're doing the bird count, I always thought that I could look in Merlin and then just say, yeah, this is my bird, and it would count. And I didn't realize that it's not going anywhere like Seek.
Yeah, right. It's not going in. It's your own personal private thing. Okay. I do believe, and again, I didn't look into Merlin in great detail before I did this talk because I decided I wasn't going to talk about Merlin yet. I do know eBird a little bit, fairly extensively. But if it's like a Seek, you can take a picture and then it stores it for you. The information is stored for like all of your sightings that you've seen in Merlin. I would think it keeps, but they don't go anywhere.
Okay. I didn't think it even stored it actually, but it could be.
No, I don't think Merlin stores it.
Okay.
I don't think so either.
Merlin, when you first open the Merlin app, there's an option for a photo ID. And when you hit the photo ID, you can upload a photo from wherever, I guess.
Oh, that's I never.
I saw that.
You can either take a photo or update a photo ID or choose a photo from what you already have. So, but as far as I know, when you do a Merlin ID, unless you then send it off to eBird, which is an option when you say yes, this is my bird, it doesn't get kept as far as I know.
Okay. And LeRoy wants to know what kind of sandwich you're eating.
Bob's eating.
Yeah, he's hungry.
He's sharing it. He's pointing it at the screen.
I think he's teasing Sam.
Bob, you're on mute.
You're on mute.
Hello, that's a turkey and cheese sandwich.
Very
like
nice.
a hoagie.
I'm sorry, I didn't even know I was on video.
You're not. We're just guessing. We're
Sam's salivating.
And I am not Kay. It says Kay King on my thing.
Yeah.
I got here late, Leroy. I'm enjoying what I have heard, so I'll have to go to YouTube to get to the beginning.
Yeah, well, it's a lot of running around and trying to find
Mhm.
and trying to share the correct screens is what you missed.
You'll have to help me with that iNaturalist because I downloaded it, but I haven't done anything with it yet. It's too wet outside to do anything.
Yeah, well, if it was nice outside, I would have gone. I was planning to, and I had my extra phone to use as a camera, but I don't. So, and I apologize. It's just anyway.
Interesting.
Any other questions or any other comments? Or now, what I'd like to do, and in the future at some point, and it won't have the screen sharing problem as much, is to do a similar presentation that talks about Merlin and eBird.
Maybe we'll be able to do it in person.
That would be great.
We're
All right.
vaccinated.
Well, fabulous. Well, Leroy, thank you so much. This was really, really interesting. And I think, and just as Callie was saying, it's really easy to use iNaturalist. My recommendation, honestly, for anyone is to just download it and just go play and have fun with it in your backyard. Just to sort of see how it works and fool around with it. There's a lot to it. There's a lot more you can do. As Leroy said, you can go in and you can look at other people's things. If you feel like you really know a lot about, birds or plants or something, you can go in and look at other people's observations and help them ID as well. Because it's a really neat way that it sort of involves the whole community in it. So this was really wonderful. Hopefully, as I said, hopefully everyone will come and join us again next week, where we're going to be talking about Monarch Watch and Monarch way stations. And I think we are good. So thank you so much, Leroy. Thank you all so much for coming. We are recording this, so if you missed any parts of it or wanted to rewatch it, it will be up on the Bucks Audubon's YouTube page, probably within a couple of days. It usually takes Marissa a couple of days to get them up there. So thank you all so much, and I hope everyone has a really great day.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, Leroy.